Listen, Jeff, it's up to you. The entire fate of the podcast universe rests in your hands. You must get home in time to get this week's show done. It's all about you, Jeff. Can you do it? Can you do it? Will you make it happen? Will you do it?
I'm on it, boss man.
Do you live, eat, and sleep the hotel industry? Looking to brush up on your game? You've come to the right place. Welcome to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Hey everybody, your friendly neighborhood Glenn here, and I hope that today you are vibrating with love and light. I'm so excited to be here with you once again on the No Vacancy with Glenn Hausman podcast show. Man, has it been an exciting week, and I know you're probably saying to yourself, Glenn, you sound a little tired yet again. What is with you always sounding so freaking dang tired whenever you're on the microphone? Well, I was just in Las Vegas this past week at the Red Line Hotel Corporation's annual event. I was there not as a journalist capacity, but I was hosting their general session there and hosting some stuff on the living stage during their trade show. And while I was there, maybe I also, grabbed a couple of podcasts, some other folks in the Las Vegas area, since we were at the Mirage Hotel celebrating its 30th anniversary the last couple of weeks. How cool was it to be staying there around their 30th anniversary and really get a sense for the rebirth of Las Vegas? Because when Mirage opened in 1989, it was the first type of property that really hit that mega resort type of category. Sure, you had Caesars. Sure, you had some of the other types of properties, but they weren't really like this. Steve Wynn, who created the Mirage Resort, well, what he did was he really reinvented the Las Vegas Casino Resort Hotel. And I know that fans of Las Vegas will realize that after that Mirage Tower went up, suspiciously, a lot of the other buildings in town seem to have that same kind of shape and design, just with a little bit of a different kind of look and feel on the inside of it. But externally, a lot of these buildings do look the same with that central core elevator bank and all the different, pathways going off for the rooms in each of the directions, 3 or 4 different directions for you. And it was that was really a design, I think, that stuck around for many, many, many years and proved to be super successful. And it all started out as Mirage. And now Mirage might be in need of a little love and care over there after 30 years, but I think still great resort, especially when you look at it historically and what it has done for the Las Vegas market. And I know I had a great time over there, and I kept meaning to go check out that volcano show, which I haven't seen in years and years and years and years. But nope, I totally never made it over there to do it, which is really a darn shame because I had such a good time. But anyway, back to the Red Lion Hotel Corporation's annual event. So here I am. I'm supposed to be doing this general session where I hosted the thing. It was really, really a lot of fun. I got to hang out with some of the executives there, and I got to really experience some things behind the scenes. And while I can't really talk about a lot of stuff, I think it's safe to say the one message that came out of this conference that you'll all be hearing if you haven't heard it already is, hey, just give them a shot, right? I mean, we all know that they've had the CEO, quote unquote, resigned last month, and that's really kind of changed a lot of things for them. I understand, just based on conversations that I've been having, not with Red Line people, but from hoteliers out there. There's a lot of discord and stuff behind the scenes, and I know that the executives over at the corporation are looking at this as an opportunity to make change, as an opportunity to wipe that proverbial slate clean, as an opportunity to get back to basics, to get back to helping hoteliers. In fact, that was the theme of the event, was get back to basics, which probably coincidentally was, probably decided upon before the, again, quote unquote, resignation by their CEO. So for me, I thought it was a great chance, and really the message that I got out of it was, if you're an owner, operator of any of the hotels that are within RLH Corp, that's Red Line, Hotel RL, ABVI, Nights Inn, Guest House, Signature Inn, those types of brands. The new interim CEO, John Russell, says, please, give them a chance. Give them a few months to figure their stuff out. Let them let them show you how their change of positioning in their structure of their business is really going to help you, okay? So maybe a little clunky in words this morning because I did have a great time in Las Vegas last week. I did have a great time hanging out with all those people, doing a lot of fun things there. I got a great interview in with Al Mancini. He runs the food and beverage column for over at the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And we're going to be having that interview come up in a couple of weeks, along with one that I did with the head of the VP of like F&B over at Venetian Palazzo. That should be really great too. Also, while I was there, I had a chance to eat over at Venetian Palazzo at this restaurant called Mott 32. It's a very upscale Chinese cuisine. Highly recommend that. I had the best Peking duck I've had in my life since I had it in Beijing. So that was really great. And then I went to the show Atomic Saloon, which is done by the good folks over at Spiegel World. If you like a good show that's kind of got adult, raunchy-ish humor, but a lot of fun, kind of sends up Cirque du Soleil, the Spiegel World shows are absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend all of them for you. They're in a smaller, more intimate setting. They're pretty freaking funny. They don't take themselves too seriously. I had a great time at the Atomic Saloon show, and I think you guys will too. All right, so I want all of you out there to think about, you've got one life, so blaze on, people. But while you're doing that, reshape your expectations of what an FF&E distribution partner for hospitality should be. And of course, I'm talking about our good friends over at Almo Hospitality, because they're your go-to partner to simplify FF&E deployments for the guest room and beyond, because they've got industry-leading brands, the latest in hospitality trends, and distinctive new-to-market brands, coupled with specialized business development and a hospitality-dedicated sales team. They're a division of Almo Corporation, nation's largest independent distributor of professional AV, consumer electronics, major appliances, outdoor furniture, and housewares. I encourage you to check out their Facebook page, check out their LinkedIn page. They got a lot of great content on there with it, a lot of great interviews with a lot of their folks that are focused on their, all of the products and services that they offer. I've been doing a lot of interviews with those guys. So if you want to learn more about how Samsung can help you, how Peerless AV can help you, how Laundry Lux can help you, how company after company can help you save money while increasing guest satisfaction. Well, Almo Hospitality is a place to go. Try them at hospitality.almoproav.com. That's hospitality.almoproav.com. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to our show, please do that right now on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and all the other places that you like to get your podcasts. And if you like this show, check out Checking In with Anthony and Glenn, in which I do with Hotel Impossible's Anthony Melchiori of the Travel Channel. I know, speaking of Red Lion, we have a promise that we're going to be able to get John Russell on that particular show, I think sometime in early 2020, sometime in January. So we're going to learn all about what it's like from him. I see him as a hotel industry icon. He's one of those guys that really was friendly and embraced me when I was just a little puppy dog in this industry back in the mid-1990s, when he was really very up there running then HFS, which became Senate, which of course now you know as Wyndham. This guy's been around. This guy's a hotel industry icon. We will talk all about his history and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that one in early 2020. Okay, so for today, I'm going to have a great conversation with Rocco Bova, and he's a general manager with Chable. It's a luxury wellness hotel resort in Mexico. I think you're going to find that interview really, really interesting. Talks about bringing that high-end service to that emerging wellness market, how those things come together, where he gets his gumption from to run these types of properties. This guy's been all over the world, and you think you're going to love that interview. And then on the other side of the commercial break, we got Brad LeBlanc, and he's the Chief Development Officer with Best Western Hotels and Resorts. We'll get a great update on what's been going on with those folks. And of course, I think that's one of my final interviews that we did back in the Lodging Conference in September. So give me a little break if it seems like it's a couple months old, because, hey, it's a couple months old, so give me a break. Okay. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate your support there. And I am so happy to have each of you around me. So before I go, and before we get into our interview with Rocco Bova, I want to say again how much I appreciate and support every single one of you out there. You've made this the most incredible year that I've ever had professionally. I really feel like we're coming together here as a community. Things are happening, and we are really about to set off on a bold new adventure together in 2020, and I cannot wait for next year to begin. Okay, I can certainly wait for next year to begin. I'm really looking forward to these next couple of weeks, slacking off for the holiday season. I'm going to go catch myself some concerts at the end of the year at Madison Square Garden. I'm going to get all that work done that I kept saying to myself I was going to get work done during the conference season. And just kind of spend some time with my boys and my spouse and my mama and have a great time. I hope you guys had a great time listening to this. Enjoy this Rocco Bova interview. And remember, you've got one life, so blaze on. And whatever you do, take care of your shoes. See you guys on the other side. Bye. Hey everybody, Glenn Hausman back here with another great interview for the No Vacancy podcast. Man, I am looking forward to talking to Mr. Rocco Bova today, who's a general manager at Chable down in Mexico. But I got to tell you before we start, I think, Rocco, we've been trying to get this interview going for, I don't know, a year or something like that now. I'm glad we're finally having a chance to talk.
I'm so glad to talk to you, Glenn, and thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope I can share some of my personal views about the hospitality.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it too. Now, for those of you who don't know, Rocco focuses more on the luxury side of the business, which I always like talking about. So I think the question to start with, Rocco, is how's an Italian guy wind up in the middle of Mexico?
Well, this Italian guy, now 49 years old.
Hey, me too. Congratulations. Great age to be.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I left my country some 25 years ago, and with the intention to explore the world and discover what the beauties are there, to be learned and to be acquired, and also to share some of my own knowledge with the people I work with. That's for me one of the main objectives as an expatriate working outside of your own country is also to share what you know with other people.
Right.
And I moved into 11 countries altogether and lived basically some of the most amazing places in Asia, in the Middle East, in Africa, in the Caribbean, and basically now in Mexico. So I'm very curious by nature, and I don't wait for the opportunity to come. I always look for the opportunity because I guess that you have so much out there, and if you don't do anything for it, nothing is going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely, Rocco. I think you make a great point that you've got to take destiny into your own hands. We can't be passive in life and allow things to happen to us, right? We need to get in that driver's seat and make things happen for ourselves. But I got to ask, at 24 years old, I was still trying to figure out a way how to move out of my parents' house after college because I was being underpaid as a journalist. But how do you get the guts to leave your home country and go somewhere very far away? It sounds like maybe your first stop was in Asia too, because the culture there is so completely different than what you're accustomed to.
Well, my very first job actually was in London. So
okay, cool.
my first experience outside of my own country was in London,
right.
But at the same time, I didn't speak any English. So I went to totally blank in a country with a one-way ticket. And I think you have to have some courage. Obviously, this is very important. Yeah. Everybody requires a degree of courage, to take the first step. But the law of physics tells you that once you get the first one, then you're obliged to take the next one, whether it's backwards or forward. You cannot stay there because the point of equilibrium will not take you stable.
So, of course, Rocco was talking about the law of physics. An object in motion tends to stay in motion, otherwise known as inertia. And you're absolutely right, because once you get things going and you start picking up the pace, it gets a lot easier over time to make those difficult decisions.
Totally easy. In fact, after that, then I moved to Egypt. That was my very first international experience outside of Europe. That was really an eye-opener for me, as well as a road opener, because it was Egypt that gave me the view of how big the hospitality industry was.
Right.
In this little bay in the Red Sea where I was working, I was not working in a glamorous hotel. It was a normal 4-star all-inclusive hotel, part of a national Egyptian company. But then I had the opportunity to see how many hotels there were in just one place. And from there, then I understood, okay, I think I need to do something about this. I have an opportunity here. Then I went back to Europe. I went into a hotel school. I learned all the do's and don'ts and tricks, about the hospitality industry. Then went back into international career by joining the Jumeirah Beach Hotel in Dubai, and the rest is history, because everything started from there, really.
So what made you focus more on the super high-end luxury market? What is it that appealed to you? Was it the opportunity to travel around the world, or do you like wearing suits every day?
No, you can travel as much as you want, in 2, 3, 4, or 5 star. Doesn't really matter. The main difference is basically the tools that you get and the resources that you get by working in luxury hotels. Right. You obviously have a bigger budget to invest in the product, in the software, in the hardware, and more than anything else, the quality of people that you can actually employ, and the quality of training that you can provide to these great people, so that they can allow this luxury company to keep growing, and maybe I saw that coming 25 years ago, but the luxury market is the fastest growing, so I guess there is also a little bit more glamour. Let's put it. Also, let's be honest. There's more glamour in 5-star hotels, and I like that too. Why not? Mm-hmm. But yes, I just happened to be at the beginning into this glamour, and I said, okay, let's stick to it. Yeah. So how do you focus on yourself as an individual and your life if every few years or whatever it is you're picking up and moving to another part of the planet? Maybe you're just a rambling guy, like every single rock song in the 70s was about in the United States. But I'm just curious as to what's your perception in the universe and how you fit into it. I am a nomad. I think I was a nomad since I was very young. I remember, at the age of 11, 12, I was going with my little bike and travel, 10, 15 kilometers away from my own hometown to discover the next village. Obviously it was a smaller discovery, a smaller universe, but being curious by nature since the very young age, probably that was, the first spark that ignite my desire to learn more about what's around me. And then obviously the first trip outside of my hometown with my family or my mom going to, visit a auntie or some other family. And then, this Brazilian guy, when I met him at the age of 24, he said to me, why don't you come to London? I help you to get a job. And so obviously for me it was amazing. So I went to London, and then from one country to the next country, just the curiosity kept building. And, and then I just keep on going. I just like to learn. I like to really explore. Right. And you seem like the type of guy that would probably not be as happy if you were forced to stay in one place for way too long, such as if you had never left your hometown in Italy, right? Well, I guess so, yes. If you ask my wife, she will probably tell you a lot more about that. Yeah. What country did you wind up meeting her in? Well, I met my wife in London. Actually, we met in London. We got married in London. London, for me, is the birthplace, the second birthplace for me. I owe a lot to London, and that's where my passion really picked up, and my professional life started, and then my personal life changed. So yeah. That's awesome. All right, so you're focused on luxury hotels. You wound up at a resort in Mexico, the Chable Resort in Mexico, and I know there are other hiring right now. So if you need a job, just check out Rocco. But I got to ask, how did you get to this particular place in Mexico, and what is the experience like for you? We're going to talk a little bit about what you go through every day now and all that kind of stuff. Sure. Well, it's, as I told you earlier, I look for opportunities. I don't wait for the opportunities to come. So, having built a network of thousands of people over the years, then you become let's say a I don't want to say a wanted person, but maybe
no. The connotation there is your photo would be on a post office wall in the United States if you're a wanted person.
No, but what I mean by that is when you build a reputation, people they know you, so you have the kind of skill set. You speak several languages. You've been working for the best companies in the world. You have worked in different parts of the world, so you acquire the cultural experience. These skill sets are not common. They are rare. So, it's nice to know that people, company, they want to have people with this kind of skill sets. So therefore, you are wanted in that manner.
Yes.
When I was scouted for this job, I was scouted through an headhunter, honestly, and the job scope for the position was actually to be able to speak Spanish, and I didn't at the time. And I told her, I was very honest, and I say I don't speak Spanish, but I think I tick every other box. And she said to me, "Okay, let's give it a try." So I went through the interview process, everything in English. And then when they invited me over here, they actually did my interview full Spanish. Everything in Spanish. There was not a single word in English.
So what happened? You just sit there and you look at their faces and go, "Sí." No, sí.
No. Well, I had some basic Spanish.
Of course.
I had some very basic Spanish. And I was able to understand basically most of it, and I could reply back in English. So basically, that's how the interview went, and basically that was it. So I said to them, "Listen, I appreciate that you are interviewing me in Spanish. As you can see, I understand. But if you give me this opportunity, in a couple of months, I'll be fluent because I know I can pick up languages very quickly." And so I did. And, I got the job, and, actually when they offered me the job, they did not offer me the job. They told me literally, "Rocco, we would like to ask you for your hand."
Oh,
Yes, that was a marriage, basically.
Yes.
A second marriage for me. And I say yes, because, for me it was a very unique way to actually get engaged with a company. So you get married to the project. You really want to be part of it. It's not just a contract, with a signature like generally everybody does.
So then I got to ask you, if you ever leave, does you get 50% of the resort if there's a breakup?
Well, no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
All right. So what attracted you to this particular resort, which is located in the Yucatan Peninsula, I think in the middle of the jungle, right?
We are about 35 minutes from the city, from Merida, which is, the capital of Yucatan State. And what attracted me, initially, at the beginning of your career, you always work for brands, and that's what, make you your momentum and your career going at the first 10, 15 years of your career. But as you grow older and as your career is more stable, you are more senior in your job, but then you look more for quality work. You look more for the people you're going to work with more than the brand. And although I'm still a brand lover, I still like to understand, who's behind this brand. So this brand was basically totally unknown. There was no brand knowledge about it. Never been to Mexico myself. And didn't speak Spanish, so certainly was not something. Okay, I have everything that ticks all the boxes, but the curiosity for me was part of my family, because obviously once you get to a certain level, you also need to look after your family, because it's not only about me. It was a time now to provide a more stable life for my children. They are in their late teens now, so obviously they start to make friends, and you don't want to break their life, because of my career. So for me, it was, mainly for family commitment and partly for my professional commitment. So when I visited the city, Merida, it was perfect. It's a big city with the good infrastructures, perfect living condition, very safe. I say, oh, wow. So the family box is ticked full. So let's see, now the professional part. And then I met the people behind the brand. I met the owners, I met the developers, I met the architect, the designer. And then I understood how much passion was behind this project. It was not just a hotel. It was just a passion project. It was something that, the owners, they gave a lot of their own heart, their own time, and their own love for the country, for the concept. They engaged truly amazing people, but also people that they had a lot of thought. This was not a project just built like that. There was a good soul behind it. There was a real essence of the project. And then I say, wow, this is amazing, because then you can participate with your own soul. You become one, and then that's where it becomes more of an interesting project. And I guess also this was one of the reasons why so much success in such a little time.
Yeah, and I think that's really a phenomenal thing. So they brought you in before the property opened, right?
Basically, the hotel was already open. I joined literally 1 month after they opened.
All right. So then if everything is already set in stone, when you come in and you start to get acclimated, how are you able to put your imprint on something, especially a property that was built with so much vision by the owners? And we should say that this resort focuses more on the concept of wellness, right? Correct. How it was actually very natural, because when you get married to a project, like they asked me for my hand. I was married to the project. I was not. I didn't sign a contract. I was totally engaged with the project. Therefore, it was natural for me to blend into this dream, into this vision, and contribute with my part of knowledge. Then how I was able to contribute even more is because the Mexican culture is so close to the Italian culture in many ways, many ways. And even the part of Mexico where I live and I am based, Yucatan is the southern part of Mexico. People are naturally very warm and hospitable, like the people from the south of Italy where I'm from. People live a simple life, like the people in the south of Italy. They have a lot of cultural aspects which are very similar to the people of south of Italy. So I felt like home. It was like going back in time in my youth and living in this small village, where we are based, a small village of about 5,000 people. Right. With obviously some differences, but a lot of common things. And I think that helped me a lot also integrate into the culture, and be able to be part of the culture rather than me trying to change the culture with something else. Right. And I think that's important also, Rocco. Sorry to interrupt you there, but it's a great point, because most of the people are from that particular culture, and people going to visit the resort probably want to have that kind of cultural experience as the backdrop to their trip. So being able to be flexible in your thinking and morph to their culture while still being able to impart your ethos is an interesting combination. Is that much of a struggle for you, or is it something that you get used to after decades in the business? Actually, after changing so many places, it's nearly natural for me to be able to adapt to a new culture. But here it was even a lot faster, maybe because of the similarity of the culture. It didn't take me much time to blend and adapt. And actually, because I was open to receive, they were even more open to accept me as a part of their gang, of their clan. Wow. So what's it like coming into a country foreign to you and taking the reins of this great resort and then getting everybody on your side at the resort so you can continue to deliver incredible service to your customers?
Let me tell you first what happened to become so successful.
Yeah.
Because that was a very interesting story. So these people, we had some visitors, anonymous visitors. I joined in February 2017, and then we had these auditors that they came in secret in April. Sorry. So just a few months after I joined the hotel. For obviously, when they saw the beauty of the place, the architecture, the old and the new, the hacienda feeling with this modern aspect, the blending perfectly together, they decided to give us this award. So the award in particular that I'm talking about was the Prix Versailles, which is a body, a private body made of some of the finest minds of the world, including philosophers, architects, rectors of the most prestigious universities,
wow.
and the majority of them are working with UNESCO. So they go around the world to pick and choose, different places in the world that they respect the culture, the architecture, whether it is modern or historical, and how they blend it with the community around and with the country where they are. And so we were lucky to be chosen as the best hotel in the world for architecture and design.
Wow!
So the president of this body of Prix Versailles initially sent me an email in around mid-April 2017, and he said over this email, dear Rocco, I'm in touch with you because you've been shortlisted, not winner, shortlisted for this for the Prix Versailles, and the ceremony will be held in Paris on this date in May, and we would like you to participate to this ceremony. Obviously, as being newly appointed, I couldn't really travel myself. So I said, okay, let me speak to the owners and the management company, and I will be in touch with you. So I speak to the owners, to the management company, and both they were not very keen to travel to Mexico, to Paris. It was such a short notice. It was like 2 weeks notice, and they did not think this award was so important. So I got back to them and explained the situation. Obviously, no, I didn't tell them the part of this award was not so important. I told them, that they were very busy and obviously they couldn't travel at the time. So the president, when he received my answer, he picked up the phone and he called me personally, say, hey, Rocco, my name is so-and-so, I'm calling from Paris, I'm the president of Prix Versailles, and I wanted to talk to you in person because I think I need to explain you a little bit more about this award. So he told me about who the judges were, how the process goes, and so on and so forth. Then I understood that it was a little bit more than just another award. It was an important award. So I got back to the owners and the management company, explain again in details. And finally, they decided to arrange this trip. So one director, the architect, and the designer, they decided to go to Paris. The award ceremony was nothing glamorous, was very humble, very normal. It lasted about 45 minutes. Of course, we were happy and delighted to receive this award when this was announced. But it was not so much the award that was or created this incredible opportunity to be placed on the map. Was when the press present at this award ceremony posted on the social media, on the news about the best hotel in the world is in Yucatan.
Right.
And that's what everything really started. When these news were released in Mexico, Forbes Mexico actually placed them on their website, and we received over 1 million likes.
Holy cazzoli!
In the space of maybe 2 weeks, and during these 2 weeks. We received thousands of phone calls, thousands of messages, thousands of Facebook messages, emails for people to book people to congratulate us. And the amount of the exposure that we had was just beyond understanding. We couldn't even handle it. I mean, we could not take enough calls on a daily basis. That was as simple as
incredible.
that. So then, I mean, we had the busiest July, August, and September ever since opening. And that actually was what detonated our celebrity. You know, we became a celebrity. So we became the best hotel in the world by Mexican people. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you have over 100 million people living in Mexico. And there is obviously a good percentage of a very wealthy Mexican that can afford to travel in luxury hotels. So we've been having a great business, you know, over the first few months. Thankfully, obviously, we were able to deliver, you know, to the experience of being the best hotel in the world. And everything started from there, you know, the notoriety of the brand, and actually even the vision of the owners to grow into a second hotel the following year. And now we actually have 2 more projects in the pipeline in the next 2 years or so. In 5 years, we grew by 200%.
Wow.
You know, that's basically what put us basically where we are.
That's fantastic. So, is the hotel mostly getting Mexican nationals to visit, or are you getting a lot of folks from other countries coming as well?
We have a good balance. So we have about 50 to 60% of nationals, Mexican nationals, and then the remaining is basically North America and the rest of the world.
Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good mix for you guys to have.
Very good. It's important also to have a good national base because you know, they can travel all year round and basically every weekend.
That's awesome. All right, so before we wrap up, I want to hear a little bit more about the hotel and the hotel experience in itself. What makes it such a great property?
First of all, his people. You know, we recruit people by looking at the heart of the people, by looking how big the heart is, how big, genuine the smile is, because everything else can be taught. Everything else can be shared or can be coached. But the genuinity in the people, this cannot be learned or cannot be taught. So we look at the individual. You know, we look at how simple the individual is, how genuine they really want to join us, and not because they need to earn a salary, which is also normal, I understand. But we really want people that they come here with a genuine intention to serve others. And guess what? Yucatan is full of it. Full. You know, this is for me it's been I think one of the easiest assignment in terms of human resources, because the people of Yucatan are just unbelievable. You know, they're very hospitable. They're very you know, they have this you know, when you look in their eyes, you can see there is a spark. So when you see that spark, then you're done. That's all you need. Mm-hmm. And you know, I'm so happy to be here, you know, because you know, then I can transmit the way I like to provide hospitality to our guests through the people, and it's so easy because they get it immediately, you know, and this experience goes very, very smoothly, you know, from the top to the bottom.
Right. I think I'm blown away that your architecture and design is so great that it's been recognized. But when I ask you a question about what makes a resort great, you go immediately to your people. That is the sign of a real amazing general manager, Rocco.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is one of the reasons why I joined this industry, because I love being with people. You know, this is
right. And you're absolutely right about being able to train people on skills, but not you know, being generous with themselves to others. So if I was to come down there and I was to spend a week with you, what could I expect to experience? Sure.
The first thing that you will expect is actually being immersed in nature. You know, we have a beautiful landscape. We are in the jungle, although close to the city, but we are basically immersed in about 50 acres of jungle, plus another 700 acres, which are at the moment undeveloped. So imagine how much wildlife you have around it, the sound of the birds, you know, the wind, the weather here is very, very good all year round, or most of the year. So that for me, that's already a big tick, that you're going to be able to enjoy nature at its fullest. The second, you will be able to experience the Maya culture. Yucatan is the cradle of the Maya people, which is a culture, over 2,000 years old. Is a civilization of the most advanced at their time. 2,000 years ago, most part of Europe, we were living in kind of wooden shelters,
right?
While here they were building pyramids 2,000 years ago. So there is a big difference between the Maya culture and most of European culture. So it's a very ancient, with a lot of knowledge and a lot of prize for what nature provides. So they respect the nature a lot. So they work the field like they used to do, a couple of thousand years ago. They still use method to build houses like they used to do 2,000 years ago. So there are a lot of things that they are still alive. They're still up to date, and they're still very much alive. And the Maya culture. So we also have a spiritual leader on site, so that you will be able to learn and to live some of the ceremonies and rituals that they used to do so long ago, which are so relevant today. A lot of people today, they're looking for wellness. We don't provide just wellness. We provide knowledge. We open your mind to understand what is real life all about, and we open the heart of people so that they understand what really is important, what is relevant in today's life, rather than provide you with a great massage. Many hotels can do that,
Right.
But the Maya people, they are so intense. Their culture, it really is so rich in what wellness is trying to do today.
Yeah, absolutely cool.
And third, but not the least, so I said the people, I said nature, and nature interconnecting with the Maya culture. The last but not the least, also the modern life of Mexico. And Yucatan is not overpopulated, over touristic. Yucatan state is only at the beginning to open up their doors to tourism. So you still see a lot of authentic Mexico here in Yucatan. So that is great, because if you want to discover a real culture, then if you go where everybody goes, then obviously you don't discover the real culture.
Yeah, which I think is great. In particular, I'm thinking about Americans coming down there, because most Americans are used to going to the same old places, which aren't really accurately representative of Mexican culture, as they are just representative of pina coladas and resorts on the beach,
Totally.
Yeah. So Rocco, wrapping up, how can we find you? How can we find the resort? How can we get more information on all that good stuff?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm quite active on LinkedIn. I love this platform.
Yes,
I think is great for professionals. I'm not so much on Facebook or Instagram, but I think I prefer to stick to LinkedIn. You can find me under my name, Rocco Bova. I don't think there are many with this name. Then you can find our hotels on www.chableresort.com. And then you can find all the information about how to get here. You can find the other information about our sister property in Riviera Maya. And for anything else, you can contact me. I'll be very happy to serve you and to take care of you very personally.
Beautiful. I absolutely love it. Rocco Bova is definitely one of those super duper amazing professionals out there, helping make hospitality better to the entire universe. I want to thank Rocco for being here, and I want to thank you guys for listening. We're going to be right back after this commercial break.
Have a question for your host, Glenn? Tweet him now at Traveling Glenn. No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, Glenn here. So listen, a while back I told you about the Red Collection. Red Roof's soft brand that was developed after comprehensive research into what travelers today truly desire. They're offering you a great opportunity to affordably expand your portfolio in the heart of cities that you love. Well, for a limited time, that opportunity is miles beyond affordable because Red Roof is offering free royalties for 5 years. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 years to qualified franchisees completing an application by December 31st, 2019. So you better act fast. The Red Collection is a fast-growing group of upper mid-scale unique hotels, each inspired by their city's vibe and culture. And don't we all love that? What's more, every property has its own distinctive name, customized property enhancement plan, and brand standards based on what consumers want rather than arbitrary design mandates. And because all of this is backed by Red Roof, you'll gain the advantage of their owner-operated perspective, as well as a loyalty rewards program with more than 3 million members that just happens to be the richest in class and least expensive for franchisees. Plus, you'll be working with a company with franchisee satisfaction at 90%. To learn more about our 5-year royalty-free program with the Red Collection, offered to you here through No Vacancy and other places, contact Matt Hotstetler, Red Roof Senior VP of Development and Franchising, right now. Not just today, right now. Drop everything. Give him a call at 713-576-7426. That's 713-576-7426 or mhostetler at redroof.com. That's MHOSTETLER at redroof.com. And tell him Glenn sent you. Hey everybody, welcome back to the No Vacancy podcast and beef jerky shop. Brad doesn't know, but I got my famous homemade beef jerky here, and I've been giving people some samples of it all day. We're having a great time.
I look forward to that, Glenn.
If you do, we should maybe do an online, taste test over here. But
no,
first,
we can do it.
before we even talk any more about
Yes.
beef jerky, congratulations,
Well,
man!
thank you.
You are back in the hospitality universe. You're working with Best Western. What's title? SVP development?
Something like
Something
that.
like that.
Right? They just look at me and go, "Where's all my deals?" But
you've only been there 4 months,
right? So I don't really think I ever left hospitality and lodging because so many people came with me to the office world.
Right.
Right, and serendipity, world of serendipity. I mean, I've seen lots of franchisees walking around here.
Yeah.
Including our buddy Teague Hunter. Right?
Yep.
So, so it's exciting, but it's exciting to be squarely back in the space in my sweet spot, which is what I do in franchise sales.
So, what attracted you to come back and join Best Western?
I think when I really first started talking to David Kong and the senior team, right, what I realized.
And for those of you who don't know, he's the CEO of the company.
Right, and so what I realized is that. And what I'm most attracted to was young brands. You've seen me do it over and over again with camera, et cetera. And so
I'm most attracted to senior directors of development.
Right, exactly. So, and Best Western had the engine. Yeah. It had the engine. It had the muscle power. It had the distribution, whatever you want to call it. Right. Right. It had the system that was just begging for success of these new growth engines. Right. And
how long were you over on the serendipity side? 3 or 4 years?
8 years.
What? No.
8 years.
8 years?
It's probably 7.
Holy.
About to go to 8. Yeah. 7. Call it 7 years.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah. So 7 years.
This is a completely different company than when you left the hospitality industry.
And so remember at that point I was with Choice Hotels. And I had 2 8-year runs at Choice. The industry changed, new brands birthed. I looked at all these new names like Aiden and Sadie and all this stuff. I wasn't aware of it. Right. But at the same point, just a little bit of study stepped me right back in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. It's, to be lame, it's like riding a bicycle.
A box is a box. Yeah. How are you going to dress her up?
Yeah, but you got some fancy new ones out there to deal with. And it must be fun for you to be coming in and join a company that has put out so many new brands, and then the deal with World Hotels is completely, amped it up. I think you've gone from in 2010, you had the mothership brand broken into 3 components, and now it's like 17 or something like
16.
that. 16?
16 brands. So
I say 17 because I'm pretty confident at the next annual conference they'll announce another one. But that's just me spitballing. Based on the last 5 years or so, yeah.
So, what's really neat is what World Hotels did for us. It gave us that upper luxury asset.
Could you
class,
explain that relationship. We're gonna have the guy from World Hotels on here on a future show, but I don't necessarily understand. I don't necessarily think that people out there really understand what this means to the company Best Western.
So if you think about it, right, Marriott has all different asset categories,
right,
from luxury to mid-price, now to call it upscale,
right.
So World Hotels allowed Best Western from a distribution standpoint, from a guest reward standpoint, from a rate standpoint, to bolt onto the company somewhere it had never been.
Right.
Right. All of a sudden, you have a Best Western rewards member that says, "Wow, I can spend my points in Switzerland at a chateau, or in France at some beachside resort." So that's what was neat about it, and it provided that, which was exposure we never had.
Right. So,
but it also gives us that rate upside. So as developers look at us, they go, "You know what?
Right.
Wow, I look at Vibe, I look at Sadie, I look at some of these other brands, and I go, wow." So you are going to be able to drive, possibly you are going to be able to bust a rate ceiling up that may be there.
So it's been way too long since I've had a meaningful conversation on the podcast with someone from Best Western. Geez, I think it's been a year and a half or so since I had David Kong on the show last. We got to get him back on at some point.
I should have listened to it.
Yeah, but I am curious. Maybe we should just go through some of the brands for folks that don't really know. Get a little bit update on them. We could go in any order that you want, but maybe we should just start with the the classic brands: Best Western, Best Western Plus, Premier, those kinds of things. How do you see those going right now?
So you've got the core family. Let's call that the Best Western family.
Right.
And there you've got Best Western Premier, which, by the way, just won J.D. Power #1 award. Yeah, so that's big.
That's pretty awesome. Congratulations on that.
There's a lot of partying going on inside the company.
I'm sure.
A lot of cake being eaten. But so that was exciting because there's brands out there with a lot more distribution, a lot more exposure.
Right.
And I think the expectation was it would go that way, and it went our way, which is accolades to our team and Ron Pohl's service team. So,
and he is the COO of the company.
Yeah, you're good. So so that's part of the Best Western family. And you've got Plus, and you've got the core brand, right? And that's really the family jewels.
Yep.
I call them.
Yep.
Those are the brands that we still grow every day. We still protect every day. They're really the driver of this company. And then the question is, what's next? And then you've got the boutique brands sitting in that family, and that's Vibe
and Glow.
Right? We can talk about Glow. We can talk about that the momentum in the Glow family is pretty heavy.
By the way, great show on Netflix. I don't know how you guys managed to do that, but sorry. So that's GLO, not like the ladies wrestling
correct
team.
So,
I'm just trying to be funny here and not doing a very good job at it. But I do love seeing all of these different brands opening. So could you maybe explain the difference between a Glow and a Vibe, because they're kind of, to me, in my opinion,
not at all.
Not at all. No, I was going to say kind of like mirror images of each other.
Yeah,
one's more urban, one's more suburban.
So with Glow, you've got a prototype that is cost effective. It's meant to be 4-story, 3-story, 81, 91, 120 rooms, suburban USA. Right? It's the next box to offer a transient travel, a very consistent stay, but with a cool experience.
Yeah.
Where Vibe is the other side, right? Vibe's the other side. Vibe is where I'm in the inner cities working. It's part of the mixed use development. It's in a live, work, play market, but it's again structured, right? Which is why we created Aiden and Sadie, which are completely unstructured.
Right. So tell us a little bit about Aiden and Sadie, because quite frankly, we haven't covered any of those enough here on the No Vacancy podcast, because it's been since you've announced those brands, I haven't had anyone on the show.
So you need to bring me back, and we need to talk about Aiden, because Aiden will be one of our most popular brands.
Why?
It will be because, Glenn, you know and I know that for 20 years, maybe 30 years, how long we've been doing this, we've talked about blowing assets
25.
up.
Don't put me at the 30-year mark yet. All right.
Well, I'm a little ahead. So we've talked about blowing assets up.
Yeah.
Right? Blowing, as they move down the food chain, all of a sudden they go, yeah, you know what? It's so far down here. Best and highest use is the land. Let's knock it down and rebuild it. Mm-hmm. We believe, that's not the best case today. We believe that there is an opportunity with this new generation of traveler that you can create an experience. Mm-hmm. And you can create an experience with older assets around a pool, around a room, developers. So look at it this way. The reason it's somebody's name is so it has a different personality. We don't tell
Right.
you what you got to do.
Right.
We don't tell you what design to do. We don't tell you what's going to be in the room. We don't tell you what the lobby's got to look like. It is the developer's responsibility to go to an architect and said, dream on.
So then what is
Bring
the
it on. Turn this tired
overarching
product into something new and upscale.
So what's the overarching connective tissue that gets customers to understand that they're going to get these types
The
of
connective
experiences?
tissue is it's not connected,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So picture this. Driver's going down the interstate. He pulls up to, I don't know, let's just call it Savannah, Georgia. Savannah,
Okay.
Georgia, he pulls off the interstate and he goes, you know what? Look at all these vanilla boxes that I have.
Right.
All of a sudden, there sitting in the middle is an Aiden. And they go, wow, this thing's got graffiti on it. It's got palm trees around it. It's got this. What is going on? I've never heard of this, except I recognize Best Western.
That's cool. Right. Mm-hmm.
And so we let the architect, the designer, and the developer determine its personality. And we just put a little small safety box around it.
Right. Right.
And so it is a firecracker in my portfolio. I will tell you that
Really?
I have 4 open today.
4 open already?
4 open today. I've got another 10 or so in the executed pipeline. But
Right.
I will tell you about another 10 or 15 in the development pipeline.
Dang.
And that is just because my team now, as I came in 4 months ago, and I said, let's figure this out. Let's figure out how to approach the markets. Let's figure out how to approach the developers and go, you know what? Don't shed that tiredest asset.
Right.
Let's redevelop it. Let's repurpose it into an upscale, and this is how you do it. Now you've got some. So, for example, Austin, right? We took a Best Western in Austin. We moved it. He did this to it. Put a big guitar on it from graffiti. I mean, the rate went up by it was like 40% the next day.
Wow.
Because there was no rate ceiling.
Right.
People looked at Aiden and go, "What is it? Whatever that looks good, I'm staying there."
So that's interesting. So
Right?
if you have a particular brand with a particular set of expectations, you're almost creating a
capped.
box.
You're capped.
That you're right at what you could charge for it, but by opening it up into something that's just the imagination of the owners and the architects and designers.
And in the consumer's mind, he doesn't know. There's no
Right.
rate perception.
Right, and this is one of the things that I talk about, I think, from time to time on this show, is that we are so stuck on our different industry segments, and everyone talks about swim lanes, and and this brand is $87, this brand will get $89. I've never met a customer out there that understands any segments of the industry at all. They don't even understand the fact that these are small businesses. They all think that, like, Best Western owns every property, right?
Absolutely. So why not use that confusion to your benefit?
Right, yeah. I
Right?
love it. Very
Why not
clever. First time
use
I've
it to
heard
your
that.
benefit. And so an owner can all of a sudden go, you know what? This can be, if it's in Athens, Georgia, it can be a Bulldogs.
Right.
And it can be this, it can be this, it can be this. And the consumer pulls up and he goes, wow, you've created such an experience here physically. Now do you give it from a service perspective? And that's the backside. That's the operator's responsibility.
So I know that you haven't been there that long, but you have exhibited a real depth of knowledge so far about everything going on in the company in just 4 months. So is there an Aiden property maybe you could share a little bit about what its look and feel is and give us a little bit more of a feeling?
I think you look at Austin. I think you look at Austin, what my developer did there. And he took a Best Western Plus and he put a guitar on the roof. He put a graffiti coming up the top wall. So you're pulling in and you're looking, holy cow, what is this?
Right.
You go into the Cape. We just opened one in the Cape, right? And all of a sudden you look at all the New England style hotels and there's yet this modern little puppy sitting there. Right? This box that looks modern. It's cool. You go, wow. Okay, my family stayed here for 30 years, but this is something now I want to take my kids to.
So you could do exterior corridor hotels?
Absolutely.
That's what I thought. And I think that really gets to the heart of matter and what you said about this brand at the beginning of the conversation, because you have all of these assets out there that about 20 years ago, the hotel industry all of a sudden said, they are useless. Nobody wants them anymore.
Blow them
right?
up. Blow them up. Tear it down. Put a restaurant in it. Put 2 restaurants in another hotel.
Yeah, but then I started to see a number of years ago really cool properties start to pop up, like the Postcard Inn in Florida, for example, which I think was really at the forefront of this whole notion of, you could take some of these older, outdated pieces of infrastructure, create something wholly new and exciting, and it forgives the building for being old and having a smaller bathroom and maybe not some of the amenities that we're used to today.
And so it blows away the fact that for years we said interior corridor is a must for safety. People are going, you know what? I prefer experience.
Right. I want to be hanging out. I want it to be like the Melrose Place of hotels to be for a really timely reference.
Absolutely, Glenn. You absolutely the Melrose Place of hotels. You said it right there because that's what it is.
Right.
It's an experience at the pool in a courtyard, surrounded by an asset that yesterday was economy, but today is achieving an upscale rate. How do you do that?
More importantly, though, does Heather Locklear stay there?
Yeah. I hope so. I'm there if she is.
All right. So we didn't talk about executive residency yet, right?
Yeah.
So what's going on with the extended stay and stuff?
We like the extended stay segment. I will tell you that most of our executive residency come in a dual brand with Plus.
Great.
So I mean that is.
But that seems that's an interesting point to put out as well, because I think critically speaking, this is way before you joined. I didn't think the brand found its footing when it was a solo kind of a thing, typically, right? But once you matched it up with another brand, all of a sudden it created this great groundswell from developers that realized that they could build one box and go out 2 different markets.
Look, you've got 33, I believe, in the pipeline today. Right, that's a significant swell of product, and that will be opening soon. But most of that domestically is combined with a Plus. So it's driven by the Best Western recognition.
Right.
And it works. Developers love the dual brand. They love the price segmentation. They love the ability to capture 2 consumers in a drive-in.
Yep.
So
excellent. So am I forgetting any of the regular brands outside the World Hotels acquisition?
No. I think the big thing is the J.D. Power Award with Premier. I mean that's big. And Premier Collection. You know, we didn't talk about Premier Collection.
No, let's go into that a little bit more. And I think for those of you folks out there that are listening that don't know the full history of what happened with Best Western, one of the strongest assets, but also the Achilles heel of the brand, was its great eclectic mix of properties, all under the single Best Western name. So for me, as a traveler, I never knew what I was going to get, right? I'm like, this hotel is freaking amazing. I'm going to say the next one. Oh, this is a completely different experience. I didn't expect that.
Right.
But when David Kong, I think one of the ballsiest things that he did, at the, relatively close to the beginning of his tenure, was create those 3 different categories, which I think was a stroke of genius, really cleared it up in the mindset of the customers and allowed you to have this upper echelon of properties, which I think really connects well with customers.
That's exactly right. And so what Premier Collection does, is allows us again to have that luxury resort in Quebec somewhere or wherever it may be that you know what, it's cool, it's hip, and they need a distribution system. Right. They need to worry about fees, and so we provide that avenue of a fee structure. So that's, it's really neat. I will tell you that I have more Best Western Premier Collections coming to the into committee for approval. Right. Surprising how many. That's awesome. I mean, we meet once or twice a month for approval, and there's always a Best Western Premier Collection in there, if not 2 or 3. Wow. Yeah. So I'm telling you, it is. When they said today there's 650 independents under development in this country, a lot of them will be soft branded. Guarantee some of them are Best Western Premier Collection. Yeah, of course. Right? Of course. So, how hard is it to say no to somebody? Hard. Yeah. Right? Because that's their baby. And sometimes you have to say your baby doesn't fit in my family. Right. For whatever reason. Right. Or I have another valued member that you're too close to. Right. So there's a lot of reasons in the Best Western world that we say no. But I think the important thing is that we do say no. Right. Yeah, and I think that's essential, because if you say yes to everybody, it's going to destroy the whole ecosystem that you've worked decades to build up. Well, and look, it took us years to build consistency across the lodging world. And you can destroy it just as quickly. Yeah, it's really amazing. Years to build consistency. So back to you, Brad. Yes. How much? My favorite subject. Yeah. What's the process like been for you getting those sea legs on, getting back in this game over here, going from conference to conference, reacquainting with all your hospitality friends? Well, I will tell you. So David got me when I was in the middle of North Carolina and said, "Hey, here's my offer. I need you to turn right and come to Scottsdale." And I said, well, I don't know anybody in Scottsdale. I don't have a house in Scottsdale. It was just me and my dog. I turned right, and 7 days later, I was in Scottsdale going, okay, let's get started. Wow. I had closed the chapter in Maryland, was actually on the move to Tampa when that happened. Wow. So you talk about a life course adjustment. There's one. Yeah. But I do love the people in hospitality. I've been here so long. It's so nice to walk through I'm not used to being in this hotel for
right. We're recording this. We're recording this particular podcast during the lodging conference, which has just moved to the JW Marriott Desert Ridge after being at the Arizona Biltmore for like 20 years or something.
What am I going to do without sitting on the Arizona Biltmore patio?
Yeah.
But anyway, life moves on. There's a new flush of people.
A lot of great energy here. Right.
A lot of great energy. So congrats to Harry and. We're excited to be a member and a founding member or whatever we are and showing here. And so this is good for us.
Most important question, how's your dog taking to the move?
It was tough. He goes, where's the grass?
Right.
He goes, you mean I have to walk on these rocks? Really? He's a boxer. He's like, hey, come on. This is just not fair.
That's really hysterical. So what are you looking forward to most over the next year or so?
I'm looking forward to seeing I'm looking forward to how I can help Best Western transition, right? A North American development team into a group of professionals that's a resource to its members.
Right.
Right, that they call on and they go, hey, I have a portfolio. What do I do next?
Right.
And I think, oftentimes development teams at big franchise companies are looked at like, oh, you're the bad guy. You're going to put something next to me. I don't want that. I want to create win-wins for everybody, and I want my development team to be the glue and the resource that makes that happen.
What's it like coming in the position that you have with a lot of people that have been working there for a long time? How do you gain their trust? How do you get them on board?
You know what? It's been so receptive. It really has. And, I come from the workspace world, right, which kind of indoctrinated me to, we don't workers don't follow us. We follow workers.
Right.
So I'm like all about what's Google doing? What's Microsoft doing? What are they talking about? What's driving their new offices and demand, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Let's go there.
Right.
If they're going to work there, that's where we're following. And so it's been so receptive because literally the Best Western family at corporate here just down the street has put its arms wide open and said, hey, welcome. Yep. So it's been endearing. I love working there. Love working for Mr. Kong and the team. They've all been there a long time, so I'm really the new guy. But it's rewarding, and I just and also just a really I'm just happy.
Just a really super cool corporate headquarters too.
Yeah, it really is, right? So I've seen a lot of cool offices, and I'm like, first time I pulled up, which was just last April. Yeah, I'm like, is this a hotel or is this an office?
Right.
So it is.
Yeah. So. It's pretty awesome. Any final thoughts before we wrap up, sir?
Glenn, you are the master. Love your program.
Appreciate it.
Loved your energy. You are everywhere I turn around, there's Glenn.
Right.
There's Glenn. There's Glenn.
I try.
With a microphone somewhere in somebody's face. So it's really neat.
Well, I'm just really blessed that I get to talk to awesome executives such as yourself. And now that you have done so well under the gauntlet, I have got to ask you to give a good shameless plug for yourself, for Best Western, for your favorite place to get tacos, whatever it might be.
Glenn, I've only lived here 4 months, and I haven't found a great taco shop.
So I guess you're going to have to plug Best Western.
But I did go. So no, I would. The plug for Best Western is, you know what? We really are a family.
Yep.
We're a family of brands that care for our members. And sometimes it's not so easy, and the process is a little bit longer to become a member, but we value our members. We really do. We listen. We've got a team that's been there a long time, and that has built a legacy on that. So super excited to work for them. And, if we can take Best Western today from Best Western family from 4,700 hotels to 5,700 hotels under my leadership, great. Let's go.
Awesome.
Let's rock and roll.
I wish you a lot of luck, and I'm so excited to see you back here in the business and getting a chance to see you at conference after conference.
Thank you, Brother Glenn.
Well, thank you so much for being here, Brad, and and I want to thank all of you listeners for being with us here week after week. And if you haven't gotten our weekly newsletter, be sure to sign up. Text the word hotel to 66866. Easy enough. Just text the word hotel to 66866. And of course, find us at novacancynews.com and enjoy your life. I'll be back next week with another great episode, unless it is I decide to move somewhere in the middle of the country, buy some aged hotel, and turn it into an Aiden. See you guys next week.
Hey.
Thanks so much for listening to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman, online at rouse.media, on Twitter at Traveling Glenn, and on Facebook.com/Glenn.Hausman. We'll catch you next time.